check your streaming?
Yeah, it's doing it. It's setting it up.
But
Okay.
where is it sending it?
I
Did
think
you check that out?
No.
Okay.
We're live though.
Okay. Welcome everybody to No Labels, No Walls Action Monday. My name is Markus Vähälä and I am in Vantaa, Finland. Today in our Action Monday, we are going back to the No Labels, No Walls festival that happened in November all over the world. So welcome to enjoy this nice time together. How are you, Riku Turpeinen? And where are you now?
Hello, do you hear me?
Loud and clear. How are you, Riku?
Yes, I'm in the mall of Oulunkylä now, and with the phone in this conversation, and I only have a little less than what I need on my amplifier, but I will be here as long as it will last.
Great to have you with us, Riku. If you remember the festival, what was the best thing for you at the festival? What kind of memories did you have?
Well, my jam session was sensational, and I also love to have that DJ meeting in Los Angeles through Helsinki. So those both were just phenomenal and awesome experience, and looking forward to have some more of it in the other next year's festival.
Riku, this year's festival was all about transformations. Can you tell what was transformed through your participation and your performance?
Well, I learned a lot, and it was very exciting experience, and I really enjoyed the festival, and everything was so greatly to have the backstage. The idea was very good, and also the way that it was made also was very good.
I'm glad to hear that we had a lot of exciting performances and events coming from all over the world, and we experienced a lot of stories about transformation. I've heard that you also have some dreams for the future for 2023.
Yes, I had a dream to do a music document in Los Angeles in the end of the year 2023, and I'm looking forward for it, and maybe it will come true.
Sounds really great, Riku. How can the No Labels, No Walls community support you in achieving your dream and reaching that dream of going to Los Angeles?
To find my coach, and also to find some money sacrifice for this event, and find some units that could offer it with me.
Sounds very good, Riku. I hope you make it, and we all support your dream.
Okay, great, great.
Excellent. And next, we are not going to Los Angeles, but we are going to Nicaragua together with Meri Pakarin and Michael Bierman. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I'm excited to be here.
Welcome to No Labels, No Walls Action Monday, Meri and Michael. And tell us a little bit about Nicaragua. What is happening over there?
Well, it's really amazing place. It's a very, very poor country, but beautiful people and really great nature and very interesting history. So it's yeah, it's been quite a trip. We've been having a great time. And we liked the thing that we liked so much about the festival was, for me anyways, was hearing about the group that houses or finds homes for people with disabilities so they can live on their own. I thought it was so interesting, the process that they take, and I thought that it could be applicable to so many different, you know, problems or solutions rather to problems that, you know, we're facing in other sectors. So I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, another music events were really fun, and I really enjoyed Riku's and Dominic's you know, DJ hour. That was fun to watch and to you know, do. So thanks so much, Riku, for that.
And you're also representing Strindberg Laboratory, and you had great videos. Can you tell a little bit about that story? How did you create those videos, and how did creating those videos transform you and your environment there in Los Angeles?
Well, you want to answer?
Well, videos, the footage was shot over a year ago, like a year and a half ago, in the midst of the pandemic in the park. And some of it was scripted, little bit, some which just got great idea and shot the things. And it took over a year then to put it together, and for me to learn to do some of the amazing special effects. It was a hard journey to learn the programs, but it was really fun to do. And then we did the voiceovers, and so it I mean it I don't know, transformed the spaces. That's how we started doing the puppet shows, really, in the park first, where we were rehearsing, and then going into communities and creating the September 24th coming together event. So it kind of proper those events. So it kind of was a process to get to that, I think.
Yeah, and it was interesting, kind of with the together in September, you realize that people are still looking for a way to connect. So we really learned that given an opportunity, people want to, you know, get to know each other still, and come together. So it was nice to, after COVID and everything, or to realize that still.
There's real need, although people are maybe not really acknowledging it because of the getting used to not meeting people. Still, some people have fear of, you know, the COVID times, that and just to be in the crowds. yeah, it was really revealing how people really truly enjoyed just coming together, doing some activities, participating in the events, and then in the end sharing about themselves to other people, and hearing, you know, very in the way, very simple way and simple things, but to hearing all those stories were really really magical in a way.
And also, Marcus, same goes for you. We saw not you, Marcus, but your alias on CNF. So I wonder if you say a little bit about that.
Yes, CNF, Community Neglects the Facts, the oldest and the most realist Finnish hip hop band, participated the festival with a theme of taking back the streets and the places that were important for us. So we jumped over fences and shot a video during one rainy day in Helsinki, and went into locations that meant something for us. Like you mentioned, the years with COVID restricted people going into places and meeting each other. So we thought that we would claim back the places and the streets and the times and celebrate that by creating an original video for the festival. And it was a lot of fun. My son was there with us and shot the video. I got to learn how to also to edit with a new video editing software, very fast. And in the end, that actually created a momentum for our band, and now we are recording new music for a new album, and we are also performing live in March. So that sort of kick-started our live career. So I'm really looking forward also performing next year in the No Labels, No Walls festival with some new material, because that idea that we talked during the festival event with the band was also our dreams of going and performing, going out and also inviting other people to perform with us. And that has now happened. So our first song in the album will have 6 MCs from different countries, coming from United States, United Kingdom, Denmark, and Finland. So we have a huge crowd of musicians that we are connected to. Now we have a reason to connect again and create a new song that is actually called Connect. So Connections is something that the No Labels, No Walls festival did too, together with New York Alliance, where we had like a nested event inside and around No Labels, No Walls festival. Home is the Heart of Shared Living event brought together nearly 200 people from all over the world, and also allowed that event to join our festival. And some of us were also taking part of that event. So every year, No Labels, No Walls is experimenting something new. And I think this year's theme, that was transformation, was very I really like the idea of doing the action separately and then talking about that in the festival, because you could see that the stories traveling forward. And now it was really exciting to see Sounds of the South that visited me in Helsinki just a couple of weeks before the festival, and they created a performance in a bus that traveled from one location of Cape Town into another location, from poorer areas to richer areas, taking their music with them, which is very political and socially aware. And I also learned that they are looking for a space, a venue for their art and culture performances, which is something that nearly 2 million people in their country could use and benefit and enjoy. Also was very exciting to have Abraxa Teatro coming from Peru, where they happen to be traveling at the time of the festival. So we got live material coming from there as well, and from actually from a new group from Rome as well. So we got introduced to a new set of friends also. It was also lovely to see a lot of names that we have and people from previous years. So we got Fionathan, for example, coming, Alistair coming from UK, Fionathan from Ireland, for example, and we had Leila talking about scuba diving. Really excellent stuff, and of course Susie Tanner with a very exciting new Phoenix movie that is something that I want to watch again. So it's very nice that this festival always introduces new groups, new performances, new people, and links them to No Labels, No Walls movement. But also it's like a place once a year to meet up with the people that we have been sharing lives with for many years. So the next stage of No Labels, No Walls Festival is of course moving forward, and we will all meet in January the 23rd, having an Action Monday with a new kind of theme for 2023. So Michael Bierman, tell a little bit about next year's concept.
Well, we were discussing it with Marcus, obviously, and Mehdi and everybody, and we wanted to really talk about spaces. So, you know, we want to have obviously it not just be virtual, but also have it basically expressing the, I guess, the idealism of what we're trying to build, where to build a world without labels and walls, where people from all sectors can kind of come and create together through art and culture. And so what we were thinking this year is to create certain spaces, and that could be, I mean, pretty much anywhere, depending on the what you're trying to build, but then have it become a space where people can come together. So the idea is that during the year, what we're thinking is that we would have kind of actions about how do we build that. So, you know, what is the process to create a space where people can, you know, talk to one another, be respectful of one another, but also, you know, create something together. What is the need? What kind of things do people want to create in that space? And what does that really look like? Is it even possible? So that's the idea. For Strindberg, what we're trying to do is maybe we'll create a space in Los Angeles that we can do some sort of forum theater work with a group that maybe doesn't have, you know, hasn't really come together as a group yet. Because it seems like in Los Angeles, everything's very fragmented, everything's very, you know, individualized. So, you know, there's really and also transient, because of housing and a lot of different factors. So how do you create a community with people moving around so much, or people being kind of too busy to get together, you know? And why is that important? Or is that important? Still. So that's a question I don't really know, personally. So anyway, so we're gonna try to do some kind of thing like that. And yeah, and see what happens. But we'll try to document the process as much as we can, put it up for the Action Mondays, and then for the festival, maybe also have some events happening with that space. It's like kind of the goal of like, and then film it, and obviously we can broadcast it on the online in the social media channels. And that's the idea. Anything you want to add?
No, I know.
Okay. And what do you think, Marcus, about in Finland?
I think it's a great idea to start the journey to look for spaces. I think the spaces concept worked very well as the world is opening up while it's changing also rapidly. And it's harder and harder to reach people. It's harder and harder to meet people. But I think No Labels, No Walls, as the name suggests, is always looking to bring these walls down. But that's a quest where we invite everybody to join with us. And that quest continues after next year also. But every month we will introduce a new friend, a new group, and also new spaces. So we need you to join No Labels, No Walls movement next year. So each month it could be you, your art or culture, or your thing that you're introducing to a worldwide audience. And we will stream this live to Citizen Network TV. So that's the place on YouTube where you can find all the previous Action Mondays and also festival events before and after each event. But we need you and we need your friends. So every time bring a new friend and let's create the festival together. So Spaces concept is a space for you as well.
Yeah, and I think with spaces, it could be places that are unoccupied, spaces that maybe could be public spaces. It could be anywhere that you want to have something happen where it transforms the space, and that people can continue to build inside of it. That's kind of the tricky part, like for this year, for us, we kind of created that space, but then, after that Together in September event, it went back to being what it was, which is not very, not very utilized at all. So that's going to be the trick, is how do you create a permanent space that kind of keeps building?
Well, I think the trick, I mean, obviously, it went back to what it was because the people were not really transformed. Maybe some of them, but the resistance that was there from the beginning still continued. So it takes a lot of work, and it's depending on where you are, I guess it's harder.
And the action doesn't have to be big. It could be small depending on your capacity. But the idea is that people take a space and create a world without labels and walls in that space, as much as they're able to. And then also, for us, we're interested in hearing why it maybe didn't work out. It doesn't have to work out either. So
We know that.
But then what could, and then what happens next? But I think during the time, it should really be a process. We're interested more in the process, at least for us. We would be interested more in the process and seeing what happened, how did it happen, what was the reasoning behind the space and all that great stuff, because that's the stuff that hopefully will keep evolving as time goes on.
Yeah, and even if you can't permanently transform a space, that it stays, it will transform, definitely change you, and then hopefully some people who are participating. You can't change everything, but it's a small steps forward, hopefully.
And what do you think, Marcus, in Finland? Like, what are you hopefully going to do?
Well, let's see. I think it's an exploration also, sort of not only me questioning where are the spaces for people, but also creating this discussion where more and more people are looking for spaces as well. I've seen it so many times that we have spaces available, but nobody's there. Let's explore why they are not there. There might be lonely people at home, but they are not coming into shared spaces, for example, or not joining in building something. There's a lot sort of more questions than answers in this case, but I'm really excited to explore that where are these spaces, what kind of spaces there are. Could there be spaces where No Labels, No Walls Festival and people building that space could exist? It might be that I have preconceptions about what the world is, but we don't know because we're not there. So I think after all these years, it's time to start moving. It's time to go into these spaces, because otherwise we don't know. We don't get to ask these questions.
Yeah, and I think, also, with spaces, the biggest thing also that we're, everybody's running up against is privatization, of public spaces. So, like you had something posted on Facebook, I believe, about Lapinlahti and how it's going to be probably another shopping center, right? It was in Finnish, but so I'm sure that's happening. Any space that that could be a space maybe that people could have access to, with public transportation or past history, means that it's a good opportunity to have them come to buy something rather than to meet. So so maybe so anyways, it might be interesting to kind of go into those spaces and see, hey, what before they're built, and see, hey, this could have been something too, something different. What do you like,
Well, yeah, I'm so bummed out about Lapinlahti. Is there anything we could do still? I think it's, if that's true, is that final, or is it still?
I think we can start from there. So in January, let's meet in Lapinlahti and meet some people from there, talking about what that space is and what is happening.
Yeah,
a great idea.
Yeah, great idea.
Yeah, that would be great. Marcus, maybe we could also, if it's obviously not the same time and day, if you go there and record it, and then you can play the recording, because maybe this time obviously isn't the best time right now. It's dark, right? it's dark all the time, but
it's an art and culture center where people are staying 24/7. So there's always people.
Oh,
so
really?
That's the interesting thing also, that people don't know much about these spaces that exist in very nice locations. So I try to create it live, but if that's not possible, I go there daytime and record something, and we'll watch it.
Yeah, that would
together.
be great. Yeah, that's a great theme. We got our first theme. There you go. Cool.
So
and then
think about these spaces in Nicaragua also. When you're now traveling, please keep posting some photos with questions where people can participate, and we can all share that through social media and invite them to our spaces themed year 2023. So we can all keep posting about spaces from now on.
And I think a good question too, when we're going into the spaces is what do you want? Like, if we said in 2 weeks from now or a month from now, we were going to create something through art and culture in this space, based on what they, what their needs are, what would that be? And then maybe that's a way to get people to, come back in a few weeks, to create that. That's the next thing. So maybe the first step is we go to the space like Lapinlahti, we get to know them, why they're there, etc. But then what do you want to see create? What would you create in this space? How would you transform this space? And then maybe like that would lead to, an event for the next festival, the next month theme. Because I what I'm trying to say, Marcus, I think it's great that we're going in and we're going to ask questions as initial and get to know the people that are there. But then the next question is always, right, how do we create with them something, so do you think that's possible? If maybe like, so if we do it in January and then let's say in February, March, we do a art and culture event in Lapinlahti, based on the responses of what those people that are interviewed. What do you think? But that's an action, right? And that's an event for the festival.
Sounds good, Michael. So let's let's try it out, because that's what we are now exploring.
Yeah.
If it's an art and culture center, what is the art and culture happening there that we can celebrate and share? But also, put in the puck into your corner, what is going to happen in Los Angeles? So why don't you have your own theater, for example? If you would have your own theater, where could it be?
Well, I think in the Los Angeles space, I mean, spaces right now, because of the homeless epidemic that's happening throughout Los Angeles, and I think also the influence of developers in our, every month we have a new trial for a city officer who goes to jail because he took bribes from private development, so it's like a revolving door of, and we just had one of the biggest developers, Caruso, run for mayor. So it just shows you how much empowered.
He didn't become.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I'm sure.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, he still has. So I think again, what we're running up against is the access to public spaces that's not going to go to emergency based.
There isn't.
I know.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, if there were, they would go strictly to emergency based programs, because everything is such always an emergency. So I think that's the underlying thing that we're not fighting, but our obstacle. I mean, we're still working in spaces, but it's not our own. And again, the problem is when it's not your own, it's very hard to have continuous development of something, especially now with post-COVID, where the historical spaces that people have been meeting, which has been inadequate, before COVID, is now even less sparsely populated, because people are still isolating. And then you have, in conjunction, you have a huge recession that's happening right now. So other than that, it's looking good. That's kind of like the overall stuff that we're fighting against, but we're still working, we're still doing projects. It's just that it's very, especially forum types of projects, when you have to develop the audience along with the production, it's very hard to do without a permanent space. And that's really what we're trying to do, because really what we're trying to do is start something, start something to happen. So so that's the big dilemma, but it's not just us, it's I'm sure it's happening with any anybody really trying to organize people. It's the same thing that, everybody's dealing with. But what we're gonna do, I think this year again, is at least start with an unorganized, not organized population that's probably gonna be from obviously a poor background. Relatively speaking in Los Angeles, right? Not Nicaraguan poor, but Los Angeles poor. There's a big difference. And then to have a place where they can creatively speak. And I think that could be kind of revolutionary in a way because, it's always about, well, we are here to help you, or let's get you making more money so that'll solve your problems, when obviously we know that more money doesn't solve anything, for a community, rather, not the individual it does, but not the community. So anyway, so that's something that we're trying to, that's what we're gonna do for this year's festival. That's our idea.
Could you
But
find,
we can do that going in, broadcasting and asking. What?
could you find a group of people, another theater or some performers from Los Angeles, and go and visit them in February or March? So you could also show a little bit different environments and introduce new people. There might be somebody that are already in the No Labels, No Walls movement, or somebody new. That would be very exciting.
Yeah, we definitely could. I think in February, March, I think by that time we will be hopefully developing with people with disabilities, a play, starting kind of a new project with new people. So maybe what we could do is show that kind of process and how it works, and then also maybe going into a community. I don't know as far as, we could always go to another group and see what they're doing, but I think for that, I think we should ask them if they want to share what they're doing.
You can reach out.
Yeah,
to
and ask
different groups
somebody.
And see
Yeah,
how, it's unknown how they would respond.
right.
Yeah.
Right, but we could definitely ask. I'm sure Susie's group or Annie's group, would want to do something like that.
Right. But yeah, go to maybe somebody who's outside Los Angeles, but in California, because those are a little bit different environments as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. We could definitely do that. But I do think it's important that there's two forms. One is exploring like different groups like Lapinlahti and what's happening there. And then the second part is, how do we create with new people something? And I don't know, Marcus, if that means like going into Lapinlahti, asking them what they're doing, and then having CNF go in there because that's your group, and then working with them, with CNF, doing some kind of rap, kind of music kind of thing, and seeing how that transformed that center, because maybe Lapinlahti doesn't have that kind of music, that kind of music in their space, and what does that do? But I think it's important that there's an action. So it's asking questions, finding out the need, and then taking action based on that need. And then having those people, seeing how did that affect the people, and did having that event not solve, but at least was part of what they were trying to accomplish, or based on what we heard, did that solve your need like what you were hoping it would? What do you think? Like something like that kind of methodology, or do you think it's too ambitious?
We have to explore it.
Okay.
We have to go and see.
Okay.
and work from there. But like you said, that for example, in Helsinki region, there's a lot of people and groups and organizations that have participated during the years to No Labels, No Walls. So now we have a new space where we can invite them to. So that's very exciting. And join, for example, this Lapinlahti story, or I have other places also in mind with similar kind of story. So let's go and see and explore what is happening, and invite new people to join the discussion too. But also, like you said, also creating action that links people, not only locally, but internationally. I think, like you, Mary, mentioned, the Riku Dominic DJ show was very entertaining, fun, and showed that it could be done. So this kind of joint art and culture actions, I would like to see more. So also exploring why does it happen? What kind of support do people need to make that happen?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that, and then I think, because it's so interesting, I keep thinking about all of these things that are policies and huge things like Lapinlahti, or I mean, that's probably a smaller scale, but still important thing. And other things that are happening. It's like it happens, and then it's allowed to happen, in a way. Like, what is it on the organizing that, like the individual, on the individual and group aspect, that just says that, these people higher than ourselves are allowed to do this.
But one thing what we've learned here in Nicaragua is they like all from the history and what people talk right now, it's very everything is very calm, but people take action. They're unhappy, like something is real injustice. They get together and they demonstrate, and they stay there. Like it lasts a long time, and they're maybe they experience extreme violence, but they don't stop. Whether that really accomplishes in the long run anything, it hasn't really, doesn't seem like here, but why is it? I mean, I guess when less you have to lose, the more you're willing to risk everything, right? So in Finland, it's people live pretty good lives compared to, for example, here. So they don't, and it's cold and wet and dark outside in winter. So summers are the only time, a really good time to go out and, show like physically what you think. So I don't know, but it's really interesting, has been here, the whole history and even very recent history, how people are willing to take action.
Yes. And I also think it'd be interesting to ask, like, places like Lapinlahti, has anybody ever asked you these questions? Like that kind of questioning too. Like, has anybody ever asked you, like, what do you want to create inside this space? Maybe they have. I don't know. It would be interesting to say, has anybody asked you to lead something based on what you wanted to create on the, in this space? Or, hey, has any other outside group ever come in? I'm sure they have, and said, hey, let's create something in a month from now. What do you want to do? And how often does that happen? Or is Lapinlahti like kind of isolated? And if it's isolated, what we find, especially, things that are created for a specific group of people, it's always susceptible to be taken over by privatization or budget cuts.
Or like isolated, like there's like these units there that don't really interact that much. I don't know.
We don't know. We're just saying, like, so it's like, because, and they're allowed to be privatized because, it's only affecting a small group of people, and nobody the greater community doesn't see the value of it because they're not directly involved in it. So they're easy. It's much easier to, to take that away from that small subset of population. And we see that happening all the time in Los Angeles. And that's something that's really hard to prevent, a sustainable place for the people. Anyways, that would be interesting to find all that out if we can. Do you think we can do it within 6 months, Marcus? Because that's pretty much all the time we have for the next festival.
When is the next festival going to be?
Always have.
No, when? What is there like more in summer, more in fall?
I think it should be. Don't you think, Marcus? September, October, like this year after summer because of the holidays.
Something like that. I think
Yeah.
it's something that we formulate together with people.
Yeah.
Also, I think we start forming that together, and I think there might be some new things coming also next year. So we have to be ready for that as well.
So the next January 23rd, we're going to be doing Lapinlahti.
Yes.
January, sorry, 26th. I know, sorry. Is it 20? January 23rd. Yep. Is Lapinlahti. And then the next month, we'll do something in Los Angeles. And then maybe we'll revisit, if it works out, Lapinlahti the following month. What do you think? And then same thing with Los Angeles until we get more people coming. What do you think, Marcus, as far as?
Or unless we get already before people, Abraxa from Rome and South Africa, maybe there's 2 spaces. Each Monday.
What do you think, Marcus?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, you heard it here, folks. The culture revolution is happening on live on Facebook. So
And the revolution will be televised. So watch.
It will be.
This time.
CNTV. YouTube
Hit
channel.
that subscribe button.
Hey, happy New Year to everybody. Thank you for 2022. This is No Labels, No Walls. My name is Markus Vähälä from Finland, together with Meri Pakarinen and Michael Bierman from Los Angeles, but in Nicaragua at the moment. Have a great time, all of you.
Yes.
Bye, everybody.
See you next year. Bye.